Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today we are going to talk about something truly massive, something that turns heads wherever it goes, something that takes the concept of a motorcycle and pushes it to a scale you almost wouldn't believe. I'm talking about a giant motorcycle, not just big in the regular sense, but a mechanical beast so large that it almost feels like it belongs in a movie or a museum rather than out on the road. This is the kind of machine that makes you pause, take a second look, and wonder how on earth it even moves. And yes, it does move, and it does it with a presence unlike anything else on two wheels. When you first see a giant motorcycle, the first thing that strikes you is its sheer size. The wheels can be taller than a person, with tires that look like they were borrowed from heavy construction machinery. The frame is built from reinforced steel, not just to handle the weight of the engine and rider, but to deal with the incredible stresses involved in moving such a massive machine. Every bolt, every weld, every section of the chassis has to be engineered for extreme durability. Unlike regular bikes that aim for lightness and agility, a giant motorcycle embraces its bulk. The design philosophy is more about power and stability than nimble handling. You're not weaving through traffic on this thing, you're commanding attention and showing off a feat of engineering. The engine in a giant motorcycle is a marvel on its own. Often, builders use massive displacement engines taken from cars, trucks, or even aircraft to power these machines. We're talking version 8s, V12s, or even custom-built motors designed specifically for the bike. The power output is enormous, but what's more impressive is the torque. These engines have to deliver enough force to get thousands of pounds of metal moving from a standstill, and they do it with a deep, rumbling growl that you can feel in your chest. The exhaust note is less of a sound and more of a physical experience, the kind of noise that turns heads from blocks away. Sitting on a giant motorcycle is an experience all by itself. The seat is often positioned much higher than on a normal bike, giving the rider a commanding view over the road and everything around them. The handlebars can stretch wide and high, requiring a different style of control. Because of the bike's weight, starting, stopping, and turning are all more deliberate actions. You don't flick this bike into a corner, you lean into it slowly, using its mass to your advantage. It's a machine that demands respect and skill, and it rewards the rider with a feeling of unmatched power. Many giant motorcycles are custom-built one-of-a-kind creations. They can take months or even years to design and assemble, with builders sourcing parts from multiple industries. The suspension might come from a truck, the braking system from a racing car, and the fuel system from a marine engine. Every detail, from the paintwork to the chrome trim, is scaled up to match the bike's size. The result is something that's not just a mode of transport but a piece of mechanical art. These bikes are often shown at exhibitions, rallies, and festivals, where crowds gather to take photos, ask questions, and marvel at the craftsmanship. Of course, owning and riding a giant motorcycle isn't for everyone. The sheer size means it's not practical for everyday commuting. Fuel consumption is much higher than a standard bike, and maneuvering in tight spaces can be a challenge. Parking it is another adventure, you can't just slide it into a small gap between two cars. And when it comes to maintenance, everything is on a bigger scale. Larger tires, bigger brakes, heavy-duty parts, they all cost more and require specialized tools and knowledge to work on. But for the people who own these machines, those challenges are part of the fun. It's about the uniqueness, the power, and the statement that riding something like this makes. One of the most fascinating aspects of giant motorcycles is the community around them. Builders and riders often share tips, swap parts, and travel great distances to meet up with others who appreciate the same kind of engineering madness. You'll find them at custom bike shows, standing proudly next to their creations, telling stories about the build process and the first time they took it out for a ride. It's not unusual for these bikes to break world records, whether for height, weight, or even the size of the wheels. They're often documented in magazines, television shows, and now, of course, on YouTube, where millions of people can see them in action. When a giant motorcycle rolls down the street, it's not just transportation, it's a moving spectacle. People stop and stare, kids point, and other bikers nod in respect. The sound, the size, and the slow, steady motion give it a presence unlike anything else. It's the kind of machine that makes a statement before the rider even says a word. And once you've seen one in person, it's something you don't forget. So, whether you see it as an over-the-top engineering experiment, a rolling work of art, or the ultimate expression of motorcycle culture, a giant motorcycle is proof of just how far human creativity can go when there are no limits on size or imagination. They're impractical, expensive, and sometimes downright outrageous, but they also capture the spirit of adventure and individuality that makes the motorcycle world so special. And really, that's what it's all about, creating something that stands out, something that inspires, and something that makes you smile just by existing. Alright, that's it for today's ride into the world of giant motorcycles. If you've ever seen one in person, you know how unforgettable they are, and if you haven't, I hope this gave you a sense of the scale, the power, and the magic behind these incredible machines. Thanks for watching, ride safe, and I'll see you in the next video.